Right, guys, we're on day 3 of the Love There challenge. Love is not selfish. Romans 12:10. Be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Give preference for one another in honor. Selfishness and love are in a constant opposition to one another. While love asks us to deny ourselves for the sake of someone else, selfishness compels us to focus on ourselves at their expense. Selfishness is like a disease that suffocates our capacity to love. When we choose self centeredness, we become higher maintenance, more needy, overly sensitive, demanding. And then when we don't get our way, we judge others harshly while being blind to our own faults. Sadly, we live in a world that is, what is that? Enamored? Enamored with self. The culture around us teaches us to focus on our personal appearance, feelings, and desires at the top priority. We despise this trait in other people but justify it in ourselves. I deserve, and I expect, and I want. Our appetizers we use to feed selfishness. Regrettably, these selfish tendencies are ingrained into every person from birth. You can see it in the way young children act and often in the way adults use and mistreat one another. Almost every sinful action can be traced back to a selfish motive, and its dangers become painfully apparent once inside a marriage relationship. Marriage exposes our selfishness in living color. When a husband puts his interests, desires, and priorities ahead of his wife, he is flying a flag of his own selfishness. When a wife constantly complains about the time and energy she spends meeting the needs of her husband, she's revealing selfishness. Moodiness and complaining are selfishness in disguise. Laziness and irresponsibility are other mask it wears. Boasting and bragging, being easily angered, talking too much, never listening. The list goes on and on. Even generous actions can be selfish if the motive is to gain bragging rights or receive a reward. In reading this, did you focus just now on your partner's tendencies to do some of these things but ignore your own? Why do we have such low standards for ourselves and yet such high expectations for our mate? The answer is a painful pill to swallow. We all struggle with selfishness. The bottom line is this: you either make decisions out of love for others or love for yourself. But love does not seek its own. 1 Corinthians 13:5. It beautifully finds its satisfaction in the welfare of others. Loving couples and loving marriages are bent on humbling themselves and taking good care of the other flawed human with whom they have chosen to share their lives. They understand that by getting married, they are giving themselves away and releasing the right to live the rest of their lives for themselves. It's putting the happiness of their partner before their own. Choosing to love your mate will cause you to say no to what you want so you could say yes to what they need. It doesn't mean you cannot enjoy any personal fulfillment, but you don't negate the happiness of your spouse to enjoy it yourself. Love also leads to inner freedom. It helps liberate you from the anxiety of unrealistic expectations and unmet demands. By prioritizing the well being of your mate, you experience a fulfillment that cannot be duplicated by selfish actions. Unselfish people are a perpetual delight. They make amazing friends and spouses. They are willing to set their own jealousy and demands aside and lose themselves in the joy of loving, serving, and giving to another. Often, this is practiced by simply allowing your mate a few seconds to go first, speak first, or be served before you are. The more you learn to resist your own selfishness daily, the stronger, more lovable, and happier you will become. Nobody knows you as well as your spouse, and that means no one will be quicker to recognize a change when you deliberately start sacrificing your wants and wishes to make sure his or her needs are met. They may welcome it with warmth or silently suspicious, but they will likely notice it. If you find this challenge hard to swallow and are frustrated with the idea of sacrificing your own desires to benefit your spouse, then you may have a deeper problem with selfishness than you want to admit. Ask yourself these questions. Do I truly want what's best for my husband or wife? Do I want them to feel loved by me? Do they believe I have their best interest in mind? Do they see me as looking out for myself first or them first? Remember, your partner also has the challenge of learning to love a selfish person. But don't wait on them to earn your love. Determine to be the first to demonstrate real love to them with your eyes wide open. Show them what it looks like by your unexpected example. And when all is said and done, you'll both be more fulfilled. Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, regard one another as more important than yourselves. Philippians 2:3. Today's dare: whatever you put your time, energy, and money into will become more important to you. It's hard to care for something you are not investing in. Along with refraining from any negative comment, buy your spouse something that says, "I was thinking of you today." What did you choose as the gift for your spouse? What happened when you gave it to them? What was their response? And then this says, where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there is disorder. James 3:16. Is there any input on the selfishness? We have a couple of minutes.
Well, I think, personally, I think selfishness is always going to be a struggle regardless. You know, because, like, it's kind of hard to get yourself in that mindset, like, I want to give, but never want to get anything because it's been instilled over so long. And it's like literally like how most of the stuff works around us. You know, like people go to a job, they work, they want to get paid. You know, the same mindset kind of doesn't really apply when you get into a relationship like a marriage because you don't always want to get something for every single time you give something. If you find yourself in that mindset, and I've been in that mindset many times myself, where it's like, well, where's the reward for doing this? You know, it's kind of hard to break that chain, but it's worth doing.
It reminds me of what the pastor said. Don't do things just to get something. Look, this is what you wrote in 2017. My wife decided to put my needs and interests first by buying me needed clothes. We were just talking about that.
And now I'm tired of getting clothes.
But you need it. And blessing me with the gift of her love and caring personality. In the past, I made a love wall filled with pictures and rose scented oil burner because I know she loves a good smelling home. I know, now we have candles and oils and everything.
And diffusers.
Yeah. It's just sometimes I forget. Well, I hope with today's dare, if you feel some type of way, what did they say? Swallow that pill. Because I was like, red flag, red flag, red flag for both of us reading this.
And that's just reminding me I gotta go take my vitamins.
Yes, dear.